This morning we are looking basically at Luke chapter 19 from verse 1 to 10. And I'm preaching within few minutes on the topic, a smart move for salvation. A smart move for salvation. Verse 1 of Luke chapter 19. At that time, Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through. And there was a man named Zacchaeus. The smart move for salvation is basically talking about the actions of Zacchaeus, who was a chief tax collector who received Jesus and received salvation into his house. What do we know about this man? One is that he was named Zacchaeus. Two, that he was a chief tax collector. Three, that he was rich. Four, that he was small in stature. Number one is that he was named Zacchaeus. Two, that he was a chief tax collector. Three, that he was rich. Four, that he was small in stature. Zacchaeus. Who is Zacchaeus? From both the Greek and the Hebrew meaning of Zacchaeus, he was pure and honest. If you judge Zacchaeus by who Zacchaeus was, following his name, he was pure, he was honest. It means that Zacchaeus was born pure and honest. It means that in the destiny of Zacchaeus, in who Zacchaeus is, the Zacchaeusness of Zacchaeus, he was somebody that was undefiled. He was not somebody that would have been named among those who are sinners. That if Zacchaeus is coming to a place, people are supposed to look up to Zacchaeus as somebody who is the epitome of righteousness and holiness. What then happened to Zacchaeus? That all of a sudden, the one who was supposed to be pure and holy, the one who was supposed to be seen as an honest man, became somebody that people became afraid of. What happened to Zacchaeus? That this man that people are supposed to come, when they said a holy man is in town, this is the man that they are supposed to look up to. What happened all of a sudden? That this man, who people are supposed to look up to, became somebody that they could tell Jesus, you don't need to enter his house. Number one, he joined the bad gangs. He joined the wrong company. Zacchaeus, if you listen to that passage again, it said he could not see Jesus because of the account of the crowd, the company where he was. He was born pure and honest, but in a wrong group. While some persons are having issues with destiny and fulfillment of destiny, it's because they are in the wrong group. The influence of others. The second point is like the first point, because he was a tax collector, but a little different. Why Zacchaeus could lose the identity that he was born with is because Zacchaeus was in a wrong company. And I stated that why some persons are finding it difficult to fulfill destiny, to fulfill dreams, to live out what they were born with, is because they have been in a wrong company. The influence of others. The idols of the cave, the idols of the marketplaces. Like what one philosopher will say. Because of this idol of the place, the idol of marketplace, the idol of so many things that you can point to. The perception of who Jesus is becomes difficult. The realization of their life, their destiny, the realization of why you were created is not difficult. And if you must see Jesus, if you must realize your destiny, if you must realize if you must manifest what God has given to you, then you need to shift from that crowd. So it's not that Zacchaeus was born a sinner. What happened is that Zacchaeus was in a wrong place. Number two, which I say is like number one, but with difference, is that Zacchaeus was a tax collector. Tax collectors were those who had the responsibility of collecting taxes. And in their responsibility of collecting taxes, they went the extra mile to charge people, bringing heavy taxes for those who ordinarily were not supposed to pay those taxes. They exploited people. So generally, tax collectors were considered as sinners. If you are a tax collector, and even in the midst of tax collectors, you were not even interested in defrauding people, when once they point at you and say, that is a tax collector, you're already given that name. You are a bad man. You are just a bad man. Even if you are a good man, they just say you are a bad man. You have been condemned before time. So the identity you carry becomes buried. The identity of the crowd that you are into is what people begin to see. Why some persons are also facing what they are facing is because of the name others have given to them. It's not because of who they are per se. Because Zacchaeus was a good man, pure and honest by virtue of his name. But already because of who he is, or because of what he is, because of what he is, in the who he is, Zacchaeus was pure and honest in what he became. That is a tax collector. He became a sinner. People look at him like somebody that should not be talked to. People looked at him like somebody that people should not even relate with. People looked at him as somebody who is not worthy to come to church. People looked at him as somebody who is not worthy to experience the love of Jesus. But the first reading said Jesus, God came, God shows his love, his mercy to all. But you are merciful to all. You are merciful to all. God is not selective of those he shows mercy to. So while you are judging people, while you are condemning people because of their background, while you are condemning people because of their association with others, while you are condemning people because of where they found themselves, God is saying, you, I will not condemn you. You, I will show mercy to you. You, I'm going to look at you with compassion. You, I will look at you with love. So, the problem of Zacchaeus is, one, that he joined a bad company. Two, because he was a tax collector, and tax collectors were regarded as bad people. So, because of these two things, he had no room to be welcomed by the people. So now, in these actions, in these situations that Zacchaeus found himself, what did he do? What did he do? The actions of Zacchaeus. This is the topic, a smart move for salvation. Number one, because he knew that he was small in stature, because he knew he has been in a background, Because he knew that he was a tax collector, and because he was in a bad company. He heard of Jesus, the Savior of the world. So he said, I will see him. I want to see him. I want to encounter him. I want to have a personal relationship with him. So the Bible says he sought to see who Jesus was. So the first action of Zacchaeus, the first smart move of Zacchaeus is searching to see Jesus. He sought to see him, to know who he was. It's not just I know Jesus. What he was trying to do about this knowledge is to enter the place of conformity. What St. Paul was talking about, that I may know him and the power of his resurrection. It's not just hearsay knowledge. No, knowledge on a level of encounter. You may be in a bad company. You may have joined a bad group. You may have been in a bad place. But once you realize yourself and you know that Jesus is merciful to all you need to do is to begin to make a decision. I want to see him. I need personal encounter with him. I need a turnaround in my life. Search for Jesus. Search for him in the place of worship. Search for him in the comfort of your room. Search for him in the marketplace. Search for him anywhere you are. And as soon as you begin to search for him, know that salvation is close by. Number 2, the action of Zacchaeus is that he ran ahead. He ran ahead. A rich man running like a beggar. He was rich. Imagine Zacchaeus running and passing those who he used to collect taxes from. He did not drive, he ran ahead. The issue, the matter, the situation, the joining for salvation, joining towards salvation is not something that you should take or treat with levity. It's not something that you should move slowly. Salvation issues and matters that you should begin to run with speed towards it. Zacchaeus understood this. He knew that when it comes to salvation, you don't walk, you run. You don't stroll, you run. You don't take a step, you run. We see people strolling to church. No, you don't stroll, you run. You see people, when you talk about the matters of faith, you see how we treat matters of faith with levity. No, you don't treat matters of faith, matters of salvation with levity. You run. And because Zacchaeus was running with speed to meet up salvation that was in front of him, he saw salvation. 2, 3, he climbed up into a sycamore tree to see him. He climbed up. He identified the good location, the good spot where he can encounter Jesus. He identified where he can have clear perception of who Christ is. So you need to identify the place that you can encounter Jesus. You need to identify how to see the face of God. After running, after taking decision, after running, where are you running to? The sycamore tree, the place where I can see God. So sit down and ask yourself, what is that tree that I will climb? There are cashew trees, there are mango trees, but Zacchaeus knew this very tree. This is the one that I will climb and Jesus will see me. Which tree are you climbing? Why you can't have visibility is because you are not on the right tree. Why Jesus can't spot you is because you are still on the wrong tree. Which tree have you climbed all along? Jesus is ready to bring transformation upon you, but you must be on the right tree, on the right spot, on the right destination, on the right place. If you are not there, visibility will be difficult. Visibility will be difficult. Encounter will be difficult. So climb the right tree. The right tree. As soon as you climb the right tree, then visibility will be possible. The next thing, I think the fourth one, when Jesus came to the place, he looked up and saw him. Zacchaeus, make haste and come down, for I must stay at your house today. I must stay. Come down, hurry up, come down. So he made haste. He made haste and came down. So after being on the right tree, after being seen by Jesus from where you are, make haste and come down. The coming down of Zacchaeus is not just stepping down from the tree where he had visibility, but come down from that statue, come down from where you have positioned yourself in the place of power, in the place of wealth, in the place of deceit, in the place where others not run to you and cheat and collect taxes and bring to you. Tax collectors were already hated because of their crime. Zacchaeus was not just a tax collector, but a thief. So it means that if others were collecting 1 naira, Zacchaeus as a thief collects extra. He worked as a tax collector to the point that he was promoted to a chief tax collector. You can't be promoted if you are not doing your job well. So Zacchaeus did his job well. So hurry down from that level you are. Hurry down from that level of fornication. Hurry down, come down with haste. Come down from that level that you are seeing yourself. Come down, so that I can go to your house. And Zacchaeus made haste. He came down in obedience. He came down in humility, total submission. He came down. And Jesus went to his house. So Zacchaeus made haste and came down. I think that is the fourth point. Number 5 is that he received Jesus joyfully. He received Jesus joyfully. He opened up. As soon as Jesus said, Zacchaeus, make haste and come down, he became so happy, excited. Oh my God, Jesus is around. I need to go down. When Jesus spoke to him, he felt joy inside. Instead of saying, yeah, man, I know who you are. You have always spoken against us. I'm not going to. But when he received the good news, he smiled. Say, wow, today salvation has come to my house. And joyfully, he came down. So if you must receive from him, open up. They say, come down. Well, you see, I tell people when it's time for donations in church, people donate grudgingly. It's time for harvest. If you must give anything connected to God, do it joyfully. That's where reward is. If you don't do it joyfully, instead of not doing it joyfully, don't do at all. So Zacchaeus received him joyfully. So open up and receive him joyfully. And when they saw it, they all murmured, he has gone in to be the guest of a man who is a sinner. And Zacchaeus stood and said to the Lord. You know, when they saw Zacchaeus with Jesus, those who are deputy Jesus, they started condemning him. Why will you go to be with a sinner? Well, do you know what Zacchaeus was doing? While they were condemning him, he was busy walking his way. While others were judging him, he was busy doing his thing. While they were saying, a chief tax collector, he was saying they never knew that I've left that position long time ago. You see from this passage that Zacchaeus, that was not just the day he made the decision to give his life to Jesus. From what Zacchaeus will say, the next statement of Zacchaeus. Now, he said, "Behold, Lord, see." Behold is see. And I tell you, during Mass, when we say, "Behold the Lamb of God," they say, "See." Don't be burying your head. See. So, see, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor. He did not say, "I will give." See, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor. If you know your English language very well.